In context of healing, and a lot of you are familiar with that book and that concept of those 5 stages. Dismantling, emptiness, disorientation, rebuilding a new life. Those 5 stages have to be dealt with. And there's a way to deal with them. We have to heal. Heal what? We have to heal our hearts and souls, not just our bodies. So we have symptoms on the body level. And those of us who are helping the world when the world changes, but also every day. Because if the world doesn't change, don't be sitting around going, damn, it didn't happen. I wasted my time trying to be a nicer person. No. You should be doing this anyway. This should be your daily activity. Choosing to be a nicer person. It should just be like that. This just makes sense. Now, those of us who are committed to that, of course, in Miracles calls teachers of God. And there's a reason why he uses the concept, sometimes confusing to people, but it means I've chosen because I'm always teaching. Every time I show you, my reactiveness and fear about something, I'm teaching you that I'm afraid, which reminds you, affirms that I feel separate from God. Otherwise, I wouldn't be acting so insane. So I'm teaching you that I'm insane. And every time that I act, we check in and come from spirit, I'm teaching what's called love. I'm teaching you that I believe that even though I'm struggling, everything's okay. Now I'm teaching love. So it says that we're teachers. And it's sort of saying that when you really make a commitment to knowing this, yes, you can be declared as a teacher of God. Call it any other word. I sometimes just choose miracle worker or healer. Healer doesn't mean you're actually doing body work per se. It means you recognize you're here to help people. Every kind of help you can bring people. And there's some really interesting rules about choosing to help people. First, and I'm going to simplify these, recognize that you and the source of the healing are the same. It's you and God. All healing comes from God. So the first rule is know the role of God in the healing and help you try to bring to the world. And the ways to know that is that, all healing comes from God and you're part of God. And that same light of God is in all people. Get that down and you're already a third into it. Another third is to recognize your role as the healer. Your role as the healer, believe it or not, is to love the hell out of everyone. Is to recognize the light in everyone. Not to, hi, I'm here, and I'm here to fix you. It's really, recognizing that my role is not to be judging. My role is to anchor in the light. Despite the way the world or the people feel, I'm going to do my best to anchor in the light. So my role as a healer is greatly about not judging what I think the problem might be. And there's other rules about that. That's in the new book that came out yesterday, Healing the Heart and Soul. And it ultimately goes to the third step of the responsibilities. There's God's role, there's the healer's role, and then there's how to see our clients. And there's a whole list of things in there on how to see other people. And clearly the way we want to see, one of the things about seeing other people is that they actually reflect ourselves. Not literally. Be careful about taking things too literally. All human beings take things literally. Or literally. That's easy. Because we like to see with these eyes and interpret things literally. But spirit sees things always symbolically. So if you're thinking symbolically, metaphorically, that's why the great teachers use metaphor, myth, parable. Because they were saying it's like this. Humans were always really like this? No. It's like this. Really like this? No. Kind of like this. Okay, like this. Humans, little. And spirits, wow. Look how many things you can get from this one story. No, there's only one thing you can get from it. That's literal, that's fundamental thinking. Stress the word mental. Okay? Fundamental thinking. Now, our role is to come back to what is really happening here. Thinking big, thinking symbolic. So, even though our bodies symbolize some of what's going on, it's important to look at. It's not the body or the literal that's the issue. Please practice looking more deeply as to what's happening on a mirroring level, symbolically.